So with the latest firmware update for the Mini 4 Pro and the DJI Air 3, we saw this new enhanced transmission, the ability to use the DJI Cellular Dongle 2 on both of these drones. So I was beyond excited about seeing just how this works. But after actually using it, I'm going to show you what it's really like. My first flight with this, using the Cellular Dongle 2, and I am beyond disappointed. So the Cellular Dongle 2, this allows you to use the 4G network when flying both of these drones. Rather than just relying on the OcuSync 4 signal, if that was to drop out, it would switch then to the 4G signal and give you, in theory, an unlimited range, a really good signal, especially when flying areas like around trees, obstacles, where it's really spotty with OcuSync 4. So that's the theory anyway. And I was really excited to test this out. Now, it wasn't actually available in a lot of countries. It was restricted to just China, but recently we've seen this is going to be available in more countries. Now, it's not available in all countries, so go and check on the DJI website, especially in the US. I'm sure this is not available still, but I was really excited to see what this was like. And as I've said at the start of this video, my first experience using this, right from the start of getting it, has been awful. So firstly, as soon as you get this, you open it up, there's no real instructions in here. It's really vague. So you get the dongle and you also get a screwdriver and this little plastic thing, which I have no idea what it's for. So at the moment, I'm actually waiting for it to arrive to the Mini 4 Pro, which I'll talk about. But I'm not going to open this up because I'll show you what's already happened. So it didn't go too well either, because I thought this cover on the top of the Air 3, because there's no like real instructions that go into detail about the installation process, this just like snaps off. So as I'm actually trying to get this off, I've completely bent the whole bottom of this clip thing on the top of the Air 3. So that wasn't great. And then I noticed when you flip it over, these two like really small screws. So I tried unscrewing them and that just like released it. And then I was able to put the dongle inside. So I've got this installed on the DJI Air 3, albeit a bit of damage done to the Air 3 as well. Now, in relation to the DJI Mini 4 Pro, you do have to buy a mount for this as well. This is a separate purchase. So that is currently on way. And then I'll also test it on the Mini 4 Pro as well. But that's like an additional cost as well. So this is why I want to do this video. I'm going to show the exact screen recording about what happened once it switched to that 4G signal. And it certainly wasn't like advertised or this idea that I would have, whereas you're flying, you're on OcuSync 4, that signal cuts out, it switches to 4G and everything is fantastic. I can fly as far as I want, as far as that battery will give me. And it really wasn't anything like that. So in a couple of minutes, I'm going to be showing you that. But the reason why I want to do this is that this whole setup isn't particularly cheap either. You see, the DJI Cellular Dongle, it's £129 for the dongle. If you want the mount for the Mini 4 Pro, it's £19. And then you also need to get a SIM card. So I went and got a pay-as-you-go SIM card service. They're all pretty much about the same price, but you're going to need a data plan. Now, every flight you're going to do on here, it takes about 1 gig of data. So you're going to need at least 15, 20 gigabytes of data as well. So that's a monthly cost that you're going to have to use. Now, on the DJI website, it says you get a complimentary 1 year of transmission. It's really vague what the hell that is. Now, that doesn't actually include data that you're going to get. It's just basically DJI are allowing you to connect to whatever service it is, and they're giving you that for free. But don't think that the data that you need to get is free. It's not. If you don't have an active data plan, as soon as you put this into the drone, you won't be able to enable 4G transmission. So let's just say you've bought all these dongles, you bought the mounts, you've gone and actually activated your SIM card, you've put the SIM card in, everything's great. So then you can go into your settings and you can actually go and you'll see this 4G icon, and then it says underneath it, enhanced transmission. So you just turn that on. And you can also do it the second way, which is by going to the actual transmission in the settings and turning that on as well. And if you're using the DJI RC2, you will need to actually connect this to your phone's hotspot when flying. If you don't connect it to your 4G connection on your phone, it's not going to work. So then you've got a 4G connection from your RC2 to your phone, and then you've also got the other 4G connection on the drone itself. If you're using like the DJI N1 controller, then that is going to get the 4G connection anyway, because you're going to be connecting your phone to it. That's the theory. So this idea that I can just fly off now, I'm going to lose signal because I'm going to be behind these trees, doesn't matter, because it's going to then knock into 4G mode. I'm going to continue flying. No, watch what happens. Okay, so I've got all these SIM cards connected. Let's turn on enhanced transmission and then click OK. I'm just going to go to my settings, make sure I've got my return to home set, and away we go. So you want to look at the actual top here where you've got your RC signal, that's the OcuSync 4 signal. Then you'll also see now a new 4G icon just next to that. So throughout the video, I'll show you some arrows, but just keep a look at that. So as we go to the first point, 1 of 3, as I get there, I want to just lower the drone now to a low altitude. So I've got some obstructions just slightly in front of me, like some trees. So the signal, as you can see, the OcuSync 4 signal is doing really well here. There's no difference between the OcuSync 4 and that 4G signal there whatsoever. So even when I'm down to now like 8 meters, the OcuSync 4 is really powerful. So in this first test here, there is no benefit whatsoever between the 4G and OcuSync 4. Let's move on. So as we're going on here now, if you see the OcuSync 4, this is where it's starting to dip out a little bit. It's dropped a few bars, but it's still nothing significant. So as we keep going on now, the OcuSync 4 is dropping to about 2 bars, whereas that 4G signal, that is ready to kick in and is really nice and stable. So everything's working great. It's at that point though that we turn. All I've done is literally turn to the left. I'm not that far out. And the 4G signal is now dropping just as much, if not worse, than the OcuSync 4 signal. This is meant to kick in and give you this fantastic 4G transmission, but you can see already I've lost complete signal. So it is completely unusable, and all this lag that you're seeing on the screen, this is real. This is what I was actually seeing as well. It's unflyable like this. This is actually a worse experience than if I was using no dongle whatsoever. I just don't understand what is the problem here. So you can see the RC signal, the OcuSync 4 has dropped out as well. I'm also getting no 4G transmission, no decent transmission. It's trying, it's like it's between red and orange all the time, and you can see now it says moderate to weak. It's constantly flicking between strong, moderate and weak signal. This is absolutely useless on this second test. And I do have multiple spotters in different locations. Let's try and fly now to one of them in a different location. So we'll fly just up that field now, and you can see that 4G signal is actually worse than the OcuSync 4 signal. The OcuSync 4 is getting about 2 to 3 bars, whereas the 4G is dropping out constantly. This is not what I'd expect or what it mentions on the DJI website. This is no good. And is this going to be worth your data plan? You can see now it's gone back up to full bar. That's because I've increased the altitude to 70 meters, but the OcuSync 4 is also nearly at full bars as well. There is no significant difference here between the two. The idea that once you lose OcuSync 4, the 4G will kick in, it simply isn't the case. You can see now OcuSync 4 really low, 4G it's doing okay, but it's so hit and miss. It's constantly dropping out all the time. And I try and actually switch from dual band to the 5G and even 2.4 just to see if that makes any difference. And as soon as I switch to 5G, you can see I just lose everything. So I lose complete transmission now. The screen's gone grey. So at this point, you would just do a return to home. So switch back to dual band, see what happens. Do I get some signal back? It's trying to get that 4G back. But I mean, is this giving you a lot of confidence in this system? It's really not good. So now I'm going to activate return to home just so it brings it back to me. I'll try 2.4 as well, but you can see this is actually live. This is the lag that you get. I mean, I'm actually flying here, but the screen's not producing that to me because this is awful. And if we click back on the 4G icon, you can see it's constantly switching between moderate to weak as well. So final location here, you can see the RC signal, we're about 45 meters, is actually stronger than the 4G signal. The OcuSync 4, it's decent, you know, even in built up areas with obstacles, it's good. 4G's kicked in now, so we've got full bars of both. Let's see which one does the best. So as we fly towards the sea here, they're both doing still pretty well, both at full bars. 4G actually went first. RC signal is still there at 3 bars. The 4G, it's all over the place. You can see it's red, amber, now it's just gone off completely. And it's not like I'm even flying in like the bloody North Pole where there's no 4G signal. There's 4G signal all over here. I've got a strong 4G signal, and even with that, it's not producing a flyable, usable experience. So really not good. It's so hit and miss. You can see now it's come back on, but then it goes off again. I don't know what's going wrong with this, but certainly disappointing. So overall, not a good first flight experience there. Now, in the area I was flying it, you can see, you know, there's a bit of open land, but there's also like a lot of houses as well. And the 4G that I had on my phone, I was getting like 3 to 4 bars of 4G service on my phone. So I was in like a good 4G area, but you can see it just keeps cutting out all the time. It's just not usable. I would say it's 5 to 10% better than OcuSync 4. I just don't see the point, especially when you've got to buy a data plan to actually use this. Is it worth that monthly amount? Obviously, I'm getting this to test it to see if it works, and I was deciding whether to actually keep using this or not. You've got to buy the dongle, you've got to buy the mount system. So I will be testing this. I'm going to test this in a few more areas. But I've flown these drones in these areas now for a number of years. I know where all the black spots are. I know where the signal's going to drop out. I wanted this to be a lot better. And I know loads of you guys are going to see this advertised and be like, oh my God, this is brilliant. Just like I did. I had no idea what this was going to be like. And the first flight, it was awful. So I really wouldn't recommend at the moment picking this up. Now, if that's opinion changes, then I'll let you know. I'm going to test it on the Mini 4 Pro as well. I'm going to test it in a few more areas, but this area, flying to 3 different points, it was useless. So the idea of this is fantastic, but it's also extremely limited. You see, I like flying as well in the mountainous areas, like in the Lake District. It's fantastic area around there, but there's hardly any 4G service around there. In Wales, Scotland, really spotty 4G areas. So this would be useless there. This wouldn't work. It'd be no advantage. So I'm still like trying to come to terms about what is the actual point in this? I mean, the only real place you could use this is in a really built up area where you've got fantastic 4G signal, like a city, and you shouldn't really be flying these drones all around the city anyway. You've got loads of obstacles. You need to be super careful in them areas. Do you really want these people to be flying these drones unlimited range away with all this fantastic 4G service? I just don't see the actual need for this. I think this is going to do more damage than good, but certainly in my test, really disappointed. It might improve, it might get better. I just wanted it really for those areas where you're flying, you've got loads of trees or obstacles, problems in that area where it's a bit spotty anyway, and then it switches to 4G and you can continue getting your photos and videos because you've got this really strong, stable connection. And as you saw, it wasn't. So I hope you enjoyed this raw video there. Really disappointed, as you can tell. I hope it gets better. I'll let you know if it does. I'll also let you know if it doesn't and really don't get it. But I'll just stand by on buying it for now, and I'll keep you updated. So if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that like button. It really does help out. Subscribe if you're new on here, because now I'll get back to, I've got a list of things there, really exciting products and things that I can show you. Get back to them now, but just don't get this just yet. See you on the next one.